Trickster.
What's going on, my brother? It is a
Another
good
week.
Tuesday night.
What's that?
It's a good Tuesday night, man.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Blessings
Nice
all
time,
around.
right? So Beach Girl came in early this evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. They're all coming in all right. We appreciate you joining us tonight. We've got a great show here with Robert Mason. But before we get into that, we know we've got the Rock the River concert coming up here soon. You can get your tickets to that at www.rocktheriverconcert.com. Obviously, that's August 27th over here at the River Stage in San Angelo.
And it's outdoors.
It is outdoors, so don't be afraid. Come out. Let's party together.
That's right.
All right. So we've got, man, dude, I don't think we leave him waiting, brother.
No, let's bring him in. I like his background. I could see his backyard in Arizona. Made me feel back at home. Oh, no, he's back inside again.
He's back inside. What's going on, Robert? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're blessed to have you on the show tonight, my friend.
I appreciate the time as well.
Absolutely. Big props out to Jody Best with Best Bet Promotion. She's fantastic. We love her. Thank you much, Jody, as always. So, getting back to work, we're going to talk about what you're doing now, but let's take it way back. Back. To
Okay.
the beginning. Like I'm talking like going back to New York City. So you're born in New York City.
Right, exactly.
You were born in New York City?
Yes.
Career started fronting cover bands around the age of 19 to 24, but let's go back a little bit further. What were you doing in school?
Did somebody sneak onto Wikipedia while I wasn't watching? Is that what that's all?
We might have to do our homework, brother. We might.
Yeah. All right, so I apologize. What's the question?
Coming up at home, music obviously was filling the house. I'm seeing your influences with Elvis and Tom Jones and Sinatra, and the list goes on there. So obviously you had a musical background coming out of the home. Was that brought on from your parents?
Yeah, that's my dad's music, stuff that my parents were listening to growing up. Records or, whatever around the house, influences on TV and all that kind of stuff too. So there were moments where I saw all that stuff. And then since I was the oldest, I didn't have older siblings to go through their record collections. So I had to use friends' older siblings to go through their record collections. So eventually, you get turned on to stuff later than your parents' music, what you consider your parents' music, 40s, 50s kind of stuff. And then everything from 60s and 70s. I mean, I was born in the mid 60s, so I'm a product of everything I've ever heard.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. So when did you start getting the calling to do music?
Probably, like we were saying, late teens, early 20s. Music was always around. I learned on piano when I was very young, but I didn't want to be a piano player per se. Taught myself guitar because I could read music and I understood a certain amount of that. So, and I guess I had a pretty good ear for it, for figuring stuff out. So that just moved on from there, and I just started going full on into, trying to play in everything from garage bands through grade school and high school. You learn a few songs in your buddy's garage, and you open up the garage door and there's half the neighborhood sitting on your friend's driveway. And there you go. There you go. Your first show. You know what I mean? Like,
so you were doing that in grade school. You had little bands that you would play and do your thing.
Yeah, but it was kind of a casual pursuit, like along with sports and academia and every other thing. I guess I didn't focus completely on it like some people do. It was kind of always there in the background. And I just found myself in college, and I was kind of going, okay, do I really want to do this and go on to what? I was an English and history guy, not a science and math guy. I had one of those incredibly lopsided SAT scores. I mean, not like comical, but to the point where you're like, well, you're not going to be an engineer or a scientist. You're maybe going to be an attorney, or you're going to be a teacher, or you're going to be a journalist or whatever. So that kind of happened, and then the music thing just slipped back in one day. Somebody needed, somebody had, all my friends all had bands. So it was it was, okay, you can play keys and you've got a couple of synthesizers, be the keyboard player. And then it turned into, well, who would sing this harmony? Oh, who would sing this lead vocal? Who would this? And I heard all that in my head because I had a music background, and it was something that always came kind of easily to me, figuring out everybody's harmony parts and, the orchestration of putting a band together. But yeah, you just played covers 90% of the time. I mean, I did not start writing songs right away, maybe a little bit later, like a year or so in, and with bands that would do a couple of songs. You know how that goes. Like, play the covers. Hey, we slip in, a song that's not a cover every once in a while and see if people yawn or, go get a drink or hang out.
So what was that transition in you actually taking over lead vocals? So you're saying that you were kind of feeling it out a little bit. You were doing some harmonies. You took a lead vocal here and there.
Yeah, you're always in a band, whether, I joined a band where everybody was established and, I'm the guitar player and lead singer. This is what I do. There's a little of that. And everybody was doing that and not just being a, frontman, lead vocal, whatever you want to call it, only. And I just kind of got pushed up in front one day and was like, oh, I'll just do this. So kind of like by default, who can sing this? I can. Who can sing? Well, yeah, I can. Like you kind of almost sheepishly go, well, yeah,
Right.
So my friends told a different story. I have friends from high school that I think shortly after high school, they remember a moment where I was standing there with the mic stand and going, thinking that thing you think in your buddy's uncle's bar basement where your PA and musical stuff is set up and you're rehearsing and you go, God, it'd just be the coolest thing to be the lead singer in a rock band. And like, they all look around and they, years later, they told me that story. It's like, oh, we all knew right at that moment. That was it. I'm like, I don't even remember that day. So,
really?
But there you go.
You just felt comfortable, like you slid into it and just.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, maybe not at first because I was still, I just was playing college soccer and was an athlete. So I was a lot. I'm not that tall, so I was carrying a lot more muscle mass than I do now, So probably didn't look like a lead singer unless, unless I was trying out for Manowar. But
what college were you at?
Well, I went to Uppsala College and then Kane College in New Jersey.
And you were doing
my parents moved us to the suburbs, so I pretty much got education in New Jersey, kind of to make a better life for your kids, move out of the city, get out of the Bronx. And
you were in the Bronx?
I was born in the Bronx, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
It's a borough.
Did you have to fight? Did you get in a
No,
lot of
I was
fights?
pretty young. I was honestly pretty young. And, so I don't think it was that big a deal.
I didn't fight out of my crib. No.
Right, exactly. It's not like it was, gunplay in the street or anything. Not every day.
Right.
So you go to college.
Yeah.
You're looking at doing sports. Why did you make the change and say, okay, music's actually going to be my path in life?
It was kind of, I really wanted to keep, I'm following this little thing around this to make sure she's being cool. And she is. She's being really good. Anyway, she's got a big brother too. So it was really playing covers was making money, writing. Eventually you write songs and eventually you're in that moment where you say, well, the cover thing is just, going to be the cover thing forever with these people, like forever. So what can I do to break out of this? And I get an opportunity to do some session work in New York and in New Jersey. And I kind of go, okay, the studio is a whole different animal. Then it graduates to auditioning for a band that's got, their sights on a record deal. And it just kind of graduates from there. And, had a false start, had a demo deal on Epic Sony with a band years and years ago that got passed on because the same old story, the guy that signed us was the president of A&R. And he had just had some really, really big successes, I think, like resurrecting the Heart and Cheap Trick's career at Epic. And he left the company. And so all of his projects and babies were, put on the shelf.
Yeah.
So after that, put a band together from scratch with some guys from the New York metro area and Jersey that I knew, and started showcasing for record labels again. And then I got the opportunity to audition for Lynch Mob. So, and there
How
you
did
go.
that come up? How did that come up? Who
Heard about it through friends and just kind of solicited myself. I knew one or two people in the business in New York and LA, record company people, and just kind of put it out there and said, "Hey, I hear they're auditioning. What can you help me with this?" And so I secured myself an audition just with the knowledge that, hey, I'd heard they were auditioning singers, and some other people were auditioning around. So flew out to Phoenix, came back, and within a couple of weeks I was in that band. So
Did you think you
after
nailed
it happened, did it take a few weeks for him to call you, or did the call come
No,
pretty quick?
it took less than 24 hours to call me initially for the audition, but I went and I snuck myself in kind of when they had dozens and dozens of people set up by the record company and management and whatever. So referrals, and when I auditioned, I was kind of on a, like I said, they slipped my audition in on a weekday when there wasn't anybody else. And they said, well, I remember George wanted me to stay, and I had a gig the next night. And I didn't know whether or not this was going to work out. It's like a thing, it kind of was I'll fly out to Phoenix and see what happens. So it was pretty favorable. It was a long audition. We had a lot of fun going on for a few hours. And then I said, hey, I have to get back to New York, like for tomorrow night, back to New York. And they said, well, okay, maybe that's the smartest thing. Leave no stone unturned. Try out everybody else. And we all agreed to do that. And then every day they pretty much afterwards, one of the band members called me to give me pretty much the report on how it was going. Not to disparage anybody else, but I mean, I made enough of an impression clearly that about a week and a half went by maybe. And George said, okay, hey, you want to be call me up. You want to be in a band? Get your ass out to Phoenix. Cave Creek, actually.
Cave Creek.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all living out here and, away from LA and all the trappings and all that noise. So, and that was how that happened.
That's where you're at right now, is Cave Creek. Is that what you said? Cave Creek?
Yeah, I liked it so much. I mean, I went back after Lynch Mob went separate ways in '93. I kind of went back east for a year and then realized I lived through the snow and all the crap and was like, you know what? I'll go back. So, and then I made it work out here. Through making our record that we made in '91, '92 with Keith Olsen, I got to be in pretty tight with him and another producer or two doing sessions for other people's records, other people's, bands. So I was making money doing that. And, it was just a logical thing to come back out here and do that.
Now, was that Keith's studio out in the valley here?
Yeah, right next to Goodnight LA, right next to Sound City.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Roscoe.
How cool was that, working with that guy? I mean, it's like,
the guy's a legend. I mean, he was, it taught me so much. It was an amazing experience to have been educated and brought in as the, green but not so green guy. Because I had made demos with other producers. Like I said, we had a false start, demo deal, record deal thing where we were funded to keep writing and recording, but it didn't happen. So I knew how that part of the business worked. And just to come out to LA and my first time out with a, big record deal on Elektra, making a record with Keith Olsen didn't suck.
no,
It was a lot of work, but I learned a lot. The guy was an amazing producer and songsmith. He had such a great rock pop sense. You listen to his discography and you just know right away. The guy just knew what to do and how to do it. Great engineer too, a guy named Shay, who helped me along immensely, finding out who I was. Like, that's a silly cliche, but finding your voice,
it's real.
And finding what suits you best in the studio, making a big budget record. So.
We've got a couple questions coming in from the audience here real quick.
Uh-oh.
Veronica wants to know, if you could record a duet with male or female of anyone, who would you choose?
I don't know. I like the difference between a male and a female voice, probably. And if they blend very well, that can be great. Something I've never really done. that might be really cool. I mean, I've sung on other people's records where you kind of have to blend as another male vocalist. And I even did a record for a friend of mine who was an actress, Bridget Wilson, where I did all the high falsetto harmonies. I pretty much had to sound as female as I could get to blend with her. She did a movie called Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and because of that, it was hugely successful in Asia, and she got herself a record deal. So Keith called me, and that was one of the Keith Olsen sessions. He's like, "Hey, Bridget wants to do this record. We got a bunch of songs we wrote, like, co-wrote or whatever, and it's kind of poppy. How high is your falsetto? Like, can you sing really clear, really high?" And I could at the time. I don't know that it works that well anymore. I'll be 57 in like 4 days, but so I did that for her. So I mean, I'm gonna say female. There you go. There's my answer. Final answer.
Female. So who's the dream that you wanted to duet with?
I couldn't even hazard a guess. Honestly, it would take forever. I don't know. That's such a long. I can't answer whom.
Huge list.
Excuse me a second.
Jennifer.
And I'm back. Sorry, just hydrating.
Right. Jennifer wants to know what kind of dogs you have. What kind of Furbies you have?
Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Oh, that's what that is. Ooh.
Nice. Getting a lot of happy birthdays out there for you too.
Oh,
happy
that's nice.
Birthday.
Yeah, Friday I've got to. We're doing a Warrant show with Skid Row in Corning, California on Thursday, and then first thing Friday morning we have to race to Sacramento, and then get on a friend's jet because there was logistically no way to get us to Indiana on commercial. So we're getting in our friend's jet and friend of the band and flying, I think, into Bloomington on Friday afternoon. So that's my wake up and do that, and then go play a gig in Gibson City, I believe.
Oh, you're doing Gibson City. Yeah, we're playing there in a couple of weeks. We're actually playing with Skid Row this weekend too, so on Saturday.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We'll slap them around for you Friday or Thursday.
All right. Soften them up a bit.
Get them all ready for you, exactly.
Tenderize it.
Yeah.
91 to 95, you're with Lynch Mob. What happened? Why did that dissolve? Why did that come apart?
Well, I don't know. Anytime there's art, ego, and money together, that can happen.
Right.
They just wanted to head different ways. We almost made a third Lynch Mob record. It just didn't happen. So,
all right.
Did you do two with them? You did two with them.
Well, I did the one in 91. Well, it came out in 92.
Okay.
And then went back years later and did a reinterpretation thing with George, that Revolution record.
But you guys were out and touring after that record in support of it, right?
Oh, we opened for Warrant in arenas. We played clubs and theaters with Life, Sex, and Death. Supporting them. Like we did we did a fair bit of touring off that first record, and that's how I got to know the Warrant guys.
How cool is that?
That's crazy. So
imagine years later have any idea, right? You just isn't that kind of interesting?
Well, yeah, that was just happenstance running into them at Rocklahoma in I guess 08.
08, yeah.
And when they had all gotten back together, and I've told the story 1,000 times about wishing Lane the best and reaching out to a couple of the guys, and then after a little bit of correspondence, not ever hearing back from Janie, and it got really dark. And then when I ran into them at Rocklahoma, I saw Joey Allen. He filled me in on what was going on, and the road was just no place for him to be, and he didn't get that was not a place for him to not succumb to whatever demons he was dealing with. And the seed was sort of planted right there without any promises or anything. He came and did the show, but he was fresh out of rehab, as they tell that story. So it was just, it was a terrible thing. I mean, if he had cleaned himself up and was alive, he'd be the singer in Warrant, and I would want that. We were friends. We toured arenas together in 92 and would go out. We would ditch our bands and go out together after shows, and so we hung out a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So that's what you guys did with support of Warrant. Was there any other tours that you did after that, or was that?
I believe that was it. We did a bunch of theater stuff on our own. We almost had Kiss dates, as I remember, and that didn't happen. So that Lynch Mob thing was, I don't know, ill-fated, I guess, in a manner of speaking, because of the climate in the music business and the time it came out and all that kind of stuff. So
Sure. Yeah.
I'd like to know how many instruments that you play.
At once, or
how many total? How many can you play?
I'm a kind of hack. I'm a hack on a couple of different things. Like I have, piano on here, just piano right there, and just a bunch of guitars. I'm a terrible drummer, so I don't even want to try. Those guys have my utmost respect. Some of my best friends are really, really good drummers, so good on them.
Good on them. Good on them. 96, you get with a southern rock band out of North Carolina called Cry of Love.
Correct.
That came after Lynch. How did that transpose?
I was friends with the record company people at Columbia, and I got a call. to audition in 94, 95, maybe 95, late 94, early 95, and flew out to North Carolina, played with them a while, heard some songs, ran through some stuff, hung out with them. And they were so unsure. I've heard everything from they were trying to get their old singer back. Like, it honestly doesn't really matter at this point, but I came home without that gig. And then a few months later, I got called to do Ozzy, and then did that from 95 to 96. And then midway through 96, Oddly Freed called me and said, hey, Columbia really wants us to make this record. We've kind of, dicked around for long enough. You're our guy. You want to come do this. So I'd sit down with Sharon and Oz and get out of the Ozzy touring situation amicably, which I did. Stayed an extra couple of months, and then went to North Carolina and made the Cry of Love record.
So you were with Ozzy on the Osmosis, right? Is that correct?
For a year doing background vocals, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to hear about that because that was when Joe was in the band. Is that right? Guitar player?
Correct. Randy Castillo. Well, when I joined the band, Geezer was the bass player, and John Sinclair on keyboards, and Joe Holmes. So yes.
So when they played, or you guys played the Forum, it was the Forum. You were there then, right? Because I went to that show.
Oh yeah. In fact, I think Korn was one of our openers, and they got their gold and platinum awards for their first record at the Forum Club that night, and they didn't know they were going to get them either.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
That's really cool.
So how did that come about? That's, everybody's a big Ozzy fan, so we got to hear more about Ozzy.
Sharon was looking for a real background vocalist, not like samples. And you have to remember, this is 1995, so it was either run tapes or a sampler or keyboard or something, and she didn't want that at all. So she started calling around, and my name came up 3-4 times, and the next call was to my house. So it was pretty much like, he wants a real live singer, not anything else. Can you come and do this? So I was at Liberty at the time, and I just said, sure. And 11 months later, I left to do Cry of Love. So it was like a long time.
Yeah, it is.
Did Budokan a couple times, did a Japanese tour, UK Europe and UK, and then a couple of runs around the States. So yeah, until August. Donington, August of 96 was my last show with Ozzy and Kiss at the top of the bill.
Now, were you hidden behind the stage? Because I don't remember the show that well. Were you just back?
I was off stage right.
Okay.
And I'm walking around right now, so
that's cool. No, that's good. I like to see the scenery.
Fast internet, and a Mac, and I can kind of just stroll around. So I'm watching the Hounds.
There you go.
Yeah, the Ozzy thing was interesting. He's only ever had keyboard players off the side of the stage, and so was I. I was off stage right behind the subs in an ISO booth, singing.
Wow.
Initially, just doing all the harmonies. You hear all those songs, and they're great songs, like "Goodbye to Romance" and all the stuff. You can really dig in and do great, harmony with the guy, and it was super fun. Randy was replaced by Michael Borden from Faith No More, and then Rob Trujillo. We had Mike Inez for a while. borrowed Mikey back from Alice in Chains for a couple of months of touring, and then Michael had to go back to Alice in Chains, so we got Rob Trujillo, who everybody knows who Robert Trujillo is now.
Sure.
So yeah, Trujillo and I were gym buddies. It was like wake up, one would call the other, we'd find a hotel, we'd find a hotel, coffee shop, or a Starbucks or whatever, and then a gym, and that was our day on day off. So he's super.
Well, you still keep on top of that fitness. I mean, I know it's obvious that you still work out
as much as I can. Not during COVID, I sat around and ate and drank a lot, but I worked out every day. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of funny.
I mean, it's important for a singer, because a singer, if you're physically in shape, I mean, look at guys like Steven Tyler and Sammy Hagar and even Roger Daltrey. We played a show with him 2 years ago. He was 75 and he sounded amazing. I'm going,
well, Paul Rogers as well, like a lifetime influence of mine, and Glenn Hughes, like your instruments inside you, and it's directly influenced by how much you sleep, what you eat, how you behave in a lot of ways. So yeah, Jack still sings amazingly well. I obviously, every time we play together, we talk, about that.
Yeah.
And I mean, he had his issues in his time of, not taking care of himself so well, but his voice, good on him, is still astounding at times.
Yeah, he's holding up, which is good, because it's
good thing.
Tough. It's tough with, you got to physically keep your physicality up too, and that's where his struggles have been because of his other struggles that he's put himself.
I mean, I came from being an athlete, not being purely a musician. So for me, I always kind of had that mindset. So between playing organized sports growing up and little martial arts too and stuff like that, I just keep my stretch and work out as much as I can. And I notice a huge difference now. Back when you were young and bulletproof, it's easy to go have a little extra fun and not much sleep and come back and be okay. But it's something that matters, to me.
Yeah.
Not for everybody. Works for me.
Yeah, as long as you keep, doing it and taking care of yourself, there's no reason why you can't sing for years and years to come. There's and like you said, look to the examples. That's what's great, is you have these examples going, man, look at the guys that are doing it so well.
Look at Tony Bennett. I mean, like, Tom Jones. I mean, the guys I saw when I was a little kid,
and those guys are what, 80s, 90s? I don't know. I mean, Tony Bennett's got to be 90.
136? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, right. And he's still doing it.
I met him once in the Phoenix airport. He was extremely kind. So keeping an eye on her there, see where she is. So let's go take a walk.
It's a cool backyard.
I mean, it's the desert, So get a little bit of 100 and something heat and just hang out and make sure you're hydrating. Those are the rules.
Some Palo Verde trees there. Those things can get huge.
Yeah, the mesquites and Palo Verdes kind of just grow here really well. So that's, can't go wrong. They grow like weeds.
Yeah. So when you ended up in Warrant, so what happened there? So you were playing at Rocklahoma with who? Because this was 2008.
We were asked to show up with a band called Big Cock that Dave Hensarling and I did for a couple of records. That was kind of, extremely tongue-in-cheek lyrically, but musically kind of placed it around 1978, 79-ish, kind of influenced. Okay. And kind of made a splash with that. Complete DIY, guerrilla style recording on laptops and hard drives and whatever. But they asked us to play Rocklahoma. So when we did, I ran into the Warrant guys. And that's kind of one of those, the rest is history kind of things.
Right. Because now it's been, 13 years or something like that. 13
yeah,
years?
I did my first show in September of 2008. So yeah.
So it'd be 13 years coming up right now. Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow, that's crazy. So it's been a good run. It's still looking strong. Of course, there's been a little bit of shakeup in your camp. I noticed that one show you got Robbie Crane playing bass.
Dixon just needed a little bit of a break and to sort through some stuff. And I'm like, he's been the bass player in Warrant his entire life, pretty much, from like 17. So, Dix is doing fine. He's He's coming back. It's a temporary thing. But Robbie Crane is awesome, and he's our bro, and he's one of us. And he just fits, and he sings great. He's great on stage. He's a monster player, and he's a great hang. He's one of us. So
yeah, it's cool. And the singing part, because you guys' backing vocals are killer. All the guys sing.
Does great vocals. Everybody does the shouts and the gang stuff, but my guys actually do sing. It's funny. Joey's asked me, so go show me this, show me how you do that, show me how this works and why, what's the easiest way to make this work better. I'm like, okay, here's what I can show you, a little tune up, but the whole band is singing really well. So yeah, that matters to us.
And it shows. I mean, and Steven Sweet's backing vocals are just killer because he's doing all the high stuff, isn't he?
Always has. Yeah, he's great.
It's just amazing. I sit there in awe going, look at this guy, man. He's doing all of it. And it's like, and it sounds perfect.
Sounds really good. Like I said. And playing the drums, like all that.
And playing the drums, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's the fascinating thing to me. It's like I look back at him sometimes and going, dude, how are you even conscious right now?
Yeah. Singing that high and having to play too, because that takes a lot, man. It takes a lot. But the harmonies always sound great. The band's always tight. It's always a fun show. For anybody who hasn't seen it, got to go see the band because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, come on out, everybody.
Every show.
I mean, we took essentially a large portion of the 30th anniversary of the Cherry Pie. That year, technically, we couldn't work. So we just kind of took a mulligan on the whole thing. And coming off the heels of the 30th anniversary of Dirty Rotten in 2019 was an amazing year for us. And we only got like 3 or 4 shows into 2020 before everything shut down. So we just kind of, a lot of our shows, I'm sure like yours as well, just rolled over an entire calendar year. Yep. And we're just getting to as many of them as we possibly can. And audiences are amazing. People are so receptive. It's like, it's not like it is that they've been saving up for that to do this, just like we have. And it's such a validating feeling to have. I mean, you've got to be able to, concur on this. When you get in front of an audience, you're like, I remember how this feels. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then there are people that are just voracious from the front to the back and side to side. And it's like, all right, there you go. That's the power of it. I have an incredible legacy because Janie was a great singer and songwriter. And I get to perform these songs for these people that have a strong nostalgic pull for this stuff. Yeah. And, I pay nearly zero attention to all the keyboard warriors and all the haters and all the just, like whatever, genius, keep going.
Yeah, right.
I've heard there's nothing you can say that I haven't heard, but go ahead, give me a shot, try it. I don't really give a rip. I'm pretty secure in the fact that not only were we really good friends, the other guys and the other 4 guys in the band are, it's everybody's there for the right reason. And it's not a cash grab. It's not anything. It's like, we're doing this because we really like doing this and people want to hear it. And as long as that occurs, we'll keep doing it. So
no, it's great. And you shouldn't care what anybody thinks. There's always going to be some troll saying something, and who cares? Let them talk.
And I mean, like I said, I don't really dwell on it. It rarely rears its ugly head in my world. But I mean, I know it's there, and okay, cool. It seems like a very loud minority of people, like there's the guy who's got to say something just to be heard, to try to either bait me into responding or somebody or whatever. And that's cool. Like if that's your MO, if you need attention that way, okay. I'm not going to judge you or fault you. I think it's the wrong way to go for me. Like I wouldn't do it, but you know what? Live and let live as much as possible. I've told people this thousands of times, probably. I've said, like, I'm easy to find. If you want to come, come to me and say some important shit, come to a show.
Yeah.
Come to an airport. I'll be in an airport near you. You know, find me there. We'll sit and have a cup of coffee and discuss it like humans,
But I mean, what's even the point? The trolls are the people that just hate themselves. That's,
I say that half kidding,
Yeah,
I doubt.
And I get that, but still, it's just
and say the stuff that I've seen, that I've heard, that people. Did you hear what this person said? I'm like, ugh, yeah. I
want to know? No,
I kind of don't care.
Yeah, and you shouldn't. There's no point in it.
I'm making people happy. I do what I like. to do. I have the greatest job in the world. I realize the weight of the nostalgia of it. I realize that.
Yeah.
And I do my damnedest to do the legacy of that proud with 4 out of 5 of, the guys that everybody knows from the heyday of the band.
Yep.
And how many bands have that these days?
Nobody from the 80s really, are very, very, I mean,
and it's not a bragging thing. It's there is a little bit of pride there. And the fact that we still go out and do that. But like I said, it's for the right reasons. And we really enjoy this. And I just want other people to come out to the show and have as much fun as we're having.
And the thing is, you guys are having fun. It shows the band's having fun. I mean, the crew, look at Kip and Curtis, they're great. Yeah. Everything's it's done really well. It's a lot of fun. I mean, every time we play with you guys, I always stick around and watch the show every time, unless we have to leave. But usually we don't.
I see you guys lurking stage left or stage right. Yes, I.
Yep, always.
And likewise, man. We're I told Jack, it's like, dude, thank you for setting a bar. I go on. I'm like, okay, well, he's here tonight, so I gotta not suck.
Yeah, that's funny. So other projects you do, like was it the End Machine, right? The End Machine.
Yeah, George and Jeff and I. First record was Mick Brown, so it was kind of really fun and kind of closure. It felt really good to do that. It was a little more experimental. We did a second record called Phase 2, because what else were you going to call it? And that maybe hit a little closer home to the Dokken formula, not in a formulaic way, but I mean, we let a lot of more of those influences come through for all of us. And that came out in April of this year, I think. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, once again, a complete departure from the Warrant thing. Sounds nothing like it to me. It allows me to stretch. It's got different chemistry, catalyst, and elements. So obviously it's going to be a different thing. And, those are great records too. I'm fiercely proud of that stuff.
Now, how did that come about? I mean, it's great players. I mean, Jeff Pilson. How cool is that to play with Jeff Pilson?
Well, we all know each other, and Jeff produced the Louder, Harder, Faster Warrant record for us.
Okay.
So Jeff and I worked really closely through the making of that record and got on very well. And he just called one day and said, "Hey, Frontiers wants to do something with George. They have me in it. They want to know if you want to be involved in it, and we're going to try to get Mick." And I'm like, "Wow, okay." It just came along at the right time.
Cool. And then it all fits right in between your schedule, right? I mean, everybody's got schedules. I mean,
well, yeah, we made it work. Oh, he must have seen somebody. The big one.
Jeff is definitely busy with Foreigner.
Yeah, he's really busy. It's not a touring situation thing, but we can definitely squeeze. We've managed to put 2 records out. So,
and you guys do shows here and there, right? You guys have popped some shows up here and there.
We played 3 off the first record. Yeah.
Okay. One of them was in Tucson, right? Over at Randy's place.
Correct. 2019, we did kind of 3. Yeah. I think we played the Whiskey, and then we played Vamped in Vegas for Danny and Corey Coker.
Yep.
And yeah. So we managed to do 3. Even in the middle of those, I had to bust out and do a Warrant show and fly back like on no sleep to do the last one. So
yeah, it's pretty brutal.
One of those.
It's pretty brutal.
I love my job, but the commute kind of sucks sometimes.
Right. That's what I always say. It's like the plane is always great sometimes, the traveling. And I don't know if you guys have experienced it this year, but the airlines have been not fun.
Man. Summer touring is like that anyway. And we just do the best we can, try to get out as early as possible.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying, I'm not going to bitch at all about the flights when we're back. And I haven't still. I'm almost there. But I mean, we've had more delayed flights than flights on time. We've had canceled flights. We've had a lot of stuff happen, 15 hours in an airport. You're like, okay, I'm not complaining. Missed flight, get home the next day, whatever.
Yeah, I know. It's, it's all relative.
It is, but we're still out. We're out and we're having fun, so that's all good. Now, what about is there other projects you're doing too, or like your solo? Didn't you do it? You did a solo record as well.
I never have. I've written. I write all the time, and I've written a bunch of stuff that maybe doesn't fit anything so far. And there's a lot of piano, the stuff that for the moment is just piano stuff. So anything and everything could happen. I'm not saying no to any opportunities, but I would, I just want to stay creative.
Sure.
Honestly, if it's a Warrant record, that's great. I would love to do another one of those sometime. If things can, if the market bears it, so to speak.
Yeah.
We'll see. I know people are into that Warrant nostalgia stuff, and I get that, and but largely audiences are pretty receptive to songs off the 2 records that I've done.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's definitely a good thing to keep writing and keep moving the legacy forward. It's changed, but that's okay. It's going to change regardless of who was in the band. It was going to change.
Of course.
What I mean? So keep it moving forward. You guys put out some records. In my opinion, you should keep doing it. You just never know. I'm like, as long as you're alive and breathing, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
There's one. So I have one yes from you. Robbie Lochner says make it. That's one.
Well, let's look at the list here. If anybody's saying, yeah, come on, anybody add to that? Yes, do another one. Yeah, maybe in the replays. So yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, I think it's great that you guys are out there doing it. We always enjoy doing the shows with you guys, and
likewise,
it's a good time. So
yeah,
I'm not enjoying this heat, but we're a little hot here in California too.
Oh yeah, well, we get your weather a couple days later, and then it intensifies. That's the way the desert works.
But you guys have been getting some rain too, haven't you?
Well, it's monsoon season, so yeah, those storms come up from.
That's kind of nice to get the monsoons, because it cools it off. You do get the humidity, but
and you get those fun lightning storms. If you can sit home and open up a bottle of wine, sit around, and just make popcorn and watch the light show.
See, I love that. I miss that about Arizona, is the monsoons when they're really like that, and you're like, wow, this is cool. Have a glass of wine and
exactly.
So the rest of the year, you guys are pretty booked up, you were saying?
Yeah, we've got shows up through December, varying degrees of busy or not busy. But yeah, I think it's over 30 shows for a half a year. So that's about a half a year's work for us.
Yeah, that's good. It's really good. Very cool. And you guys did do the M3 festival this year, right?
Correct. We played July 4th. We actually played on Sunday because we had a Saturday show. We'd fly in day of show and do Sunday night.
And how was it? I mean, it's always good there, but I'm figuring it was.
It was really cool. I had a great time. I missed the Saturday because, clearly we were out of town. But I mean, I felt like I was missing it because Accept played, and my friend Mark Ternillo is the singer at Accept, old buddy from Jersey, who I've known since I was really young, playing in cover bands and stuff. So. And Mark was an amazing vocalist. He fits that band great. And from everybody talking about it on Sunday, they were the band to see Saturday night. And they pretty much owned M3. Opinions vary, but I heard they just crushed it. I sent him a text. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry I missed your show. Are you hanging out? And we just missed each other by like an hour on Sunday. So
wow.
But yeah, M3 was great. Really, really cool for us. I was very happy to be there again. I think it's like 11. I think my 11th M3 or something like that.
Wow. We don't get that anymore because we had Baker as our manager and didn't go so well, I guess, the split up.
Well,
Yeah. But it's the venue looks different. I saw pictures and it looks different. Did they build they did something different to it?
They did a whole revamp of the entire thing, backstage and all that too. It's amazing now. Meriwether Post Pavilion was, it was getting a little older, longer in the tooth, I guess, as far as everything goes.
Yeah.
And they rebuilt and revamped and renovated the whole thing, and it's just gorgeous for the audience and for us backstage. So,
yeah, I mean, the last time we played there, they had done the backstage, and it was cool, but there was something to be said for the old backstage where it was just kind of this like whole 70s vibe to it. It was small and everybody was on top of each other. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, that was, once again, nostalgia. See, the pull of nostalgia, I was like, oh, this feels like the old days, or it feels like, the wooden patio and all that kind of stuff and catering. I remember all that as well.
I love
spent a lot of time with a lot of you guys and, in those rooms hanging out. But I mean, when you walk in and there's a pool there and it's all redecked and production offices are outside on the other side of a swimming pool that's next to catering, and it's like, this is like a Four Seasons pavilion. Like, what is this? You know?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty sweet. It's definitely.
All right. So we've had questions of Tales
yes,
from the...
yes, my hair is under my hat. I did not shave my head.
Oh, that takes care of that question.
Yep.
Scratch. Tales from the Bus with Ozzy Osbourne. Wildest tale you can tell.
Saving that for the book. I don't know. You know, too many fun things. I mean, I got to tour with. When I joined that band, I was in half of Black Sabbath. Geezer Butler was the bass player, and Ozzy was the singer. I mean, it's like mind blown. Mike Inez and Randy Castillo were great friends and great tour and touring mates to have. John Sinclair, keyboard player, one of the funniest humans I've ever known. We had amazing crew. Got to play so many places. Got to play in Prague for a couple of nights at a big, sport hall. It's the first time I ever went there. 2 nights at Budokan. I remember doing Oz didn't show up for sound check, and I did the whole Robin Zander speech from live at Budokan. Like, this is a song for a new album. With the echo of an empty room doing sound check at Budokan. And then I was in Cry of Love, and we later on, in 97, we toured Cry of Love, supported Cheap Trick, and I got to tell Robin that story, so that's funny.
That's cool as hell. How cool is that?
Everything you've seen in Spinal Tap, everything you've seen in like Almost Famous, everything pretty much have a parallel for every one of those situations. Those movies are great for a reason, because that's real shit there that people go through.
Wow. So what about Dirt?
I was never in Motley Crue, sir.
Well, I mean, the parallels.
Although I stole a pair of leather pants from the wardrobe girl, because I guess they made a pair of leather pants for one of the actors that didn't fit them. And she was kind of helping out on the the first End Machine videos, and I stole. So those pants that I'm wearing in the first End Machine videos were meant for, I think, I don't know, like the Vince character or like the whoever, but I don't know. They were pretty damn small on me. So I was like, oh, geez, I'm going to make them fit. I can have these? I'm taking them. So, yeah. Lynch Mob was on Elektra, so I had met the Motley guys a bunch of times back then, and they were always super nice to me. Hung out with Mick Mars just a few years ago when he relocated to Nashville once they, when they did the going out retirement tour kind of thing. Shortly after that, hung out at Mick's for a couple of days while he was trying to figure out what he wants to do. I hear he's doing a solo record now. I just don't have the time for that. I mean, the Warrant thing is a full-time gig. I fit in little things if I can, some TV and film work with some friends. Thankfully, I can still get calls for sessions. That Access TV show that I just, race out and do like a season of in one day. And then I'm like, hey, I'm on cable, But it's really just all about Warrant.
Now, what about, was it Metalhead? Wasn't it called, do you still do that?
No.
No.
Was for a while. It's a fun thing to do. It's kind of like, a fun thing to go do some, and those are great songs. It's all about the songs and people's connection to that, Yep. And when I was home for a bit, if I was off the road, it was a fun thing to start up and do. But like I said, it's, I have that focus now, and Warren stays busy enough that I just really do that.
Yeah.
And Suku would like to ask you about how many watches you have, because she sees you on Instagram with all your watch collection.
It's not a lot. It's not like I don't have a sickness or a problem, and it's not like I'm, buying tons and tons of stuff. It's just one of those things I've always liked. I was an 8-year-old kid who had a Mickey Mouse watch, like a manual wind, had to wind it and set it.
Yep.
Wind it every couple of days and set it. And that's, I wanted to wear a watch. So that sprung from my youth, and travel around. I like stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I have a brand association with a company called Parmigiani. That's a very, very boutique Swiss brand that they're launching a whole new a new line of, well, they've got a new line of watches, but the one that I wear on stage all the time, they were very, very nice to me, and always have been really, really cool people. And I think I'm going to be doing a couple of events for them. One for sure in San Diego in October, kind of just to bring more awareness to the brand and get up there and talk. I'm not, in front of a whole bunch of people at like a mixer at the Hard Rock, and just talk about why I love these things, and of all brands. And then specifically the Parmigiani people are just really, really amazing, and such artistry and design, and all of those things come together with just hundreds of little parts that work together, and this thing is, accurate as all get out. So that's an amazing thing to me.
There you go. So we did have a question. You said you wanted to save something for the book. Now they're wondering, is there going to be a book?
I have a writing background and a really good memory. I don't know. No, there are no plans. I just say that. That's a way to get out of asking that particular question, because in every interview I've ever done, inevitably somebody says, "What's the craziest blah 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 blah?" And you're like,
That's what they want to know, brother. That's what they want to know. They don't get those juicy stories.
Everybody wants something salacious or something that they've never heard before. I don't know.
Right. Well, it makes it more
story when we
iconic.
went out for ice cream one night, and we went out and I lost my scoop of ice cream. That's
right. I got extra sprinkles, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know.
That's right.
What does that even mean?
Right. I don't know. Brother, it's been a pleasure having you on with us.
Pleasure's all mine. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We've been able to work together. I've had you on the stage a couple times. I'm sure that'll happen again someday, and we'll keep rocking and rolling. And we appreciate you doing everything you do, my friend.
Thank you very much. And I'm just super thankful to get back to work. In summation, everybody that comes out to shows is hopefully can bear witness to that, like that we really are excited and happy to be back doing what we're doing. And for as long as we can, we just keep going.
There you go.
Absolutely. 100%.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for everybody tuning in too, and looking around. Obviously we've all got our, socials and all that kind of stuff that you try to promote and push, but it's really just about, honestly, I still think there's something to having people say, oh yeah, like the endorsement, the personal endorsement of like, I was at a show and I saw this and this was cool, and here's why you should go do this. I still like that. The grassroots kind of groundswell of support. Absolutely. So look at your phones all you want, kids. Get out of the house and go see a real live rock show and get some sweat on you every once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. And watching a show on your phone, like on YouTube, it's nothing like the real thing in person. Nothing like it. Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I see people really engaging in the moment now, which is really a beautiful thing to see. I think everyone missed it. So.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to get back to Wild Kingdom. I'm not cutting you off anyway. Well, we spent a good amount of time. I don't
Absolutely.
mean to.
We did.
Thank you.
All right.
We did.
All right. We'll talk to you, and I'll be seeing you out there.
Thank you both. And yes, I will see you on a stage someplace, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Robert Mason, right here on the Hangout Live. I almost said 103.5.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing behind me, I guess.
Yeah.
Great guy. Good interview. I had camera issues halfway through the show. Camera didn't want to connect anymore, and then it had to be rebooted and all kinds of fun stuff. So, yay.
Yay for you. So everybody push like, share the video. If you're watching it in restreams, which we get a lot more people watching in restreams, like a lot more people, that's good. Push like, share it, and get the word out. Let everybody know we're here. Who are we going to have next week, Drake? Who do we got coming up next week?
Well, I can tell you, I can tell you it's one of two people. Now, we're hoping Jody Best is working as diligently as she possibly can. I know names like Brad Gillis has been thrown out there. I know the name Mark Slaughter has been thrown out there. We're going to have somebody great, and we'll announce that just as soon as we have an affirmative on one or the other.
Either one of those is going to be freaking amazing.
Hell yeah, dude. You know what else is going to be amazing?
Huh?
When you're rocking your ass off here at San Angelo on the river stage, that's going to be amazing.
It is. Do you got your ticket?
I have my ticket. Matt Drake
Okay.
looks sunburnt a little bit. I went out on the jet skis and on the pontoon. We did some tubing and then jet skiing behind my house for a couple of days. And
I
it
did
was
too.
hot out there, man. It was hot as hell, actually.
My studio is getting hot in here. I'm like, woo! I've got to get back into the
Right.
house where it's cold. It's AC. I can't run the AC in here because it'll be too noisy.
Dude, I'm telling you what, the last time I was at your house and we went out there, I thought fat kid down, dude. You're gonna have to call a paramedic.
Oh
Throw
yeah,
me an Oreo and a glass of milk, do something. It's too damn hot out here.
well, yeah. What you deal with in this room, you see how my room can get during the summer, man. It's tough when you get all the equipment running. Whew,
When was that we filmed that TV pilot for this show?
I want to say it was June or July. I want to say it was there.
It was June. It was on my birthday. We filmed on my birthday.
Was that on your
June?
birthday?
Yeah, it was June 27th. It was at my birthday.
Wow. So it was during the heat. Gets a little hotter a little later in the year, but it's right about now is when it starts to really pick up.
Sarah, I'm not rubbing anything in. Just get on a plane and come out. We can make it happen. You can make it happen. I know you can make it happen. Right? All right. So Luis Maldonado reached out to me. Was it today? Yesterday. He's obviously playing with Foreigner. He's going to be up in Lubbock, Texas, tomorrow night at
tomorrow.
Buddy Holly Hall in Lubbock. I'm going to go up there as a special guest. But man, if you're around that area, go see Foreigner because that's going to be a kick-ass show.
Hell yeah, it is. They've got
Right?
Luis Maldonado in the band. You know it's good.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude. I'm stoked.
Of course, Jeff Pilson and all the guys. All the guys are Kelly. I can't wait to see him too. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know when I'm going to see him, but when they come through the area, if I'm off, we're there.
There you go. I'm still going to try to put him on the stage someday, some way.
Yeah.
Somehow. All right, brother. Let's get out of here, shall we?
All right, we'll get out of here. We'll
still
be back
sitting in my
week.
office. I've been here all day, man. I want to go home.
Yeah, I got it.
Right? All right, my brother. Until next week, we'll announce here in the next day or two who's going to be on next week. But until then, we love you.